Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was created around two ideas. One, that I have a lot of Magic content still on my other channel that I'd like to update, and two, some people have requested longer videos explaining each card choice and why I've included them. I figured we could kill two birds with one stone and start with an update to my wife's Lathliss deck, one of the oldest decks in our house. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Lathliss Dragon Queen is a 6-mana 6/6 legendary dragon with flying. She says that whenever a non-token dragon enters the battlefield under our control, we create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. Additionally, we may pay 2 mana and give dragons we control +1/+0 until end of turn. Lathliss is a house, and easily one of the best dragon commanders out there. The advantage she has over Tiamat or the Dragon or any of the other multicolored dragon commanders is how simple and straightforward she is. Dragons are here to deal damage. Lots of it. The fact that Lathliss not only increases the number of dragons we have on board, she also makes them deal more damage is something that needs to be accounted for. So, a bit of story behind this deck. My family and I got back into Magic in 2017. I stopped playing around 2005 because diapers are expensive. Well, summer of 2017, my then 11-year-old came to me and asked me to teach them how to play Magic. We got into it, the wife joined us, the rest of the kids joined us, and before we knew it, the whole family was showing up to F&M. This was around the release of Hour of Devastation, and set rotation is a great time to get into Standard. So, we're playing for a while, and eventually Core Set 2019 comes out, and Cute Stuff falls in love with Lathliss. So I build her a Standard deck with Lathliss, Sarkhan Fireblood, that's the 3-mana Sarkhan who lets us loot and adds 2 mana of any color so long as it's used to cast dragon spells, Dragon's Horde, Chandra Torch of Defiance, Panharmonicon, Glorybringer, and Demanding Dragon. Demanding Dragon has an Enter the Battlefield ability that says it deals 5 damage to target opponent unless they sacrifice a creature. The look on my wife's opponent's face when she cast Demanding Dragon with Panharmonicon on board when he had no creatures was priceless. When he realized this also meant that Lathliss created 2 dragon tokens, he scooped on the spot. Unfortunately, that deck was only legal in Standard for about 3 months. Chandra Torch of Defiance, Glorybringer, and Panharmonicon all cycled out of Standard when Ravnica came out in fall of 2018. It was at that time that Cute Stuff stole my Jeskai control deck with Niv Mizzet Parun and Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Around the same time, we were getting into Commander. My wife, of course, picked up the Dragon, and me, in my arrogance, thought I could tune the deck and make it better. To be fair, I am a pretty decent Magic player. I've tuned hundreds of decks and used to hold a fairly decent rating back when that meant something. I played competitively during Combo Winter and remember when the DCI handled bans instead of WotC. But Commander is a completely different animal than 60-card formats. And no matter how good of a Standard player you are, Commander requires a different mindset. Soon, Cute Stuff grew frustrated and stopped playing Commander altogether. And then one day it hit me. One of the hard parts about playing a 5-color deck is the mana base. And we had this old Lathliss deck lying around. So I built myself a mono-red Dragons Commander deck with Lathliss in the command zone. I used mostly cards I had lying around, traded for a few more, and ordered some on the internet. Of course, I always check my local game store before ordering online, but if they don't have what I need, I'm not going to drive around the state just to find a specific card. Instead, I'll order online. Now, I mostly use Card Kingdom and TCG Player for ordering Magic cards. TCG Player is a great website for getting specific cards at a competitive price. Card for card, Card Kingdom is much more expensive. However, they have fast shipping and free shipping once you get to a certain threshold. So I recommend checking both Card Kingdom and TCG Player when you're ordering cards. As a general rule, Card Kingdom is cheaper if you're ordering lots of cards, say half a commander deck. I started studying how to build a good commander deck, and I'd learned a few things from building Kalia and the Locust God. Eventually, I was able to tune Lathliss into a playable deck. I convinced Cute Stuff to give it a try, and she fell in love. She was smashing face, taking names, and having a blast. At this point, we decided to start upgrading her deck. Small cards at first, but eventually building to more expensive stuff. Not every deck needs a Mana Crypt and a Dockside Extortionist, but if this deck is your favorite, wouldn't you want to put the best cards in the deck? Now, I try to use a checklist for all of my decks. The deck doesn't have to completely conform, but this channel is here to help people build commander decks and show them unique builds. It's also a creative outlet for me and my wife, but that's beside the point. Back to the checklist. I've seen far too many decks get completely shut down by a single card. Super Friends decks without artifact removal, so when someone plays the Immortal Sun, they get to sit back and do nothing. Go Wide creature decks without enchantment removal, so they get stalled out by Ghostly Prison. Artifact decks ground to a halt by a single energy flux. But most often, I see one player at the table with his 30-land deck stuck on 3 lands they had at the start of the game, and not able to do anything else the rest of the game. Commander is way more fun when everyone at the table is able to participate. So I use checklists. Additionally, as I said earlier, this channel is mostly for players newer to the format. When you're new to something, you need to follow the rules. When you're cooking, painting, or composing a story, there are rules that you, as someone new to the art, must follow. Once you master the basics, you start to see how those rules work and why they're there. After you've got the basics down pat, you now have the experience to know when to break the rules. But until then, I recommend sticking with a checklist. Something like this. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, 1 sudden I win card. Haven of the Spirit Dragon and Crucible of the Spirit Dragon both have great synergy in dragon decks, even if you don't need them for color fixing. Temple of the False God and Ancient Tomb both serve the same purpose, giving us more mana from our lands. Cavern of Souls is expensive, but great in any tribal deck. War Room for card advantage, especially in monocolored decks. Finally, we're running 29 snow-covered mountains. Don't worry, we have a reason to go with them. Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, and Soul Ring should all be pretty obvious inclusions. I know that not everyone can afford a Mana Crypt, and that's fine. We didn't want to get one for a while either. But after they dropped to about $80 when Double Masters came out, we picked up a couple of them. Don't worry, Wizards of the Coast reprints Mana Crypt every few years. Just wait until the next reprint and pick yourself up a copy if you feel you need one. Herald's Horn is great for both ramp and the occasional card draw. And though Dragon's Horde starts out as a mana rock, after a few dragons, we pretty much only use it for card draw. Same thing with Orb of Dragonkind. Now, Ganek's Astral Hunter doesn't generate a ton of treasures for us, but he is a dragon who brings additional value to the deck. The same can be said for Goldspan Dragon and Ancient Copper Dragon. Going back to mana rocks, we're running Ruby Medallion, Arcane Signet, Thrawn Dynamo, and Fire Diamond. I know that right now many of you are rolling your eyes at the idea of Fire Diamond in a deck that's also running Mana Crypt. Danon, it comes in tapped! Diamonds are trash, you should never run them. Okay, I hear you, but now it's my turn. Diamonds are functionally no different than a guild signet. Turn 1 land Soul Ring is its signet, or turn 1 land Soul Ring Fire Diamond. In either scenario, you're done. You don't have any more mana. But on turn 2, you untap and play a land, and now you have 5 mana at your fingertips. With either scenario. Let's take Soul Ring out of the equation. Turn 2, I cast Orzhov Signet. Or, turn 2, I cast Marble Diamond. Yes, I'm aware that it comes into play tapped, and that's not ideal on turn 7 or 8, but how is that any different from a turn 7 or 8 3 visits? Moving on, we've got Cage Sun, Gauntlet of Power, and Extraplanar Lens, which is the reason we're running snow-covered mountains. Any of these on the battlefield, and we're cooking with gas. Finally, we've got a Dockside Extortionist and a Chandra Dressed to Kill. Cute Stuff and I aren't 100% sold on Chandra Dressed to Kill, but she's basically a mini version of Chandra Torture Defiance, who is the best general-purpose red planeswalker in Commander. Speaking of Chandra Torture Defiance, she's our first card in our card advantage package. Cute Stuff doesn't like having a ton of looting effects. For whatever reason, Cute Stuff's luck is to draw a looting effect when she has no other cards in hand. That being said, Chandra Torture Defiance is spot removal, mana ramp, and card advantage all in one. If you have a red deck that needs any of those, I highly recommend finding a spot for her. In a similar vein, we've got Sarkhan Fireblood, who serves dual purpose in mana ramp and card filtering. Koth Fire of Resistance also ensures we hit a land drop every single turn, which is important when you don't have green in your color identity. We've also got Wheel of Fortune and Wheel of Misfortune. While it does hurt Cute Stuff to discard any dragons, she loves drawing cards. Runehorn Hellkite is in here as another wheel effect. We tested out Dragon Mage, but decided it didn't work in this deck. But one card we do love to see is Sunbird's Invocation. Endless Atlas, like War Room, is a great card for monocolored decks. Finally, Sarkhan's Triumph to find any of our game-ending dragons. God Pharaoh statue can grind games to a halt. Flame Blast Dragon can take care of annoying creatures. Chaos Warp does the same for any permanent we don't like. Blood Moon is a wonderful magic card and makes decks cry when it hits the table. Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast are both here to mess with blue players. Don't worry, they deserve it. Abrade for more artifact removal or to blow up small commanders. Sarkhan's Unsealing means all of our dragons entering the battlefield also act as spot removal. Ugin the Ineffable for more spot removal and card advantage. And Steel Hellkite rounds us out with even more removal. Ugin the Spirit Dragon is the only board wipe in our deck. Cute Stuff used to run Earthquake, Fault Line, and the various other X-Spell board wipes along with Blasphemous Act, but she soon found that they were unnecessary. She just flew over the top of her opponent's puny ground armies or lost to some combo deck. So since the wipes weren't doing anything, she just runs Ugin now. Helm of the Host is a ridiculous magic card. For some reason, people aren't scared when Cute Stuff puts it on Lathliss. They soon learn their lesson, though. Panharmonicon, of course, is in the deck, as it doubles all the tokens Lathliss makes, as well as has some other fun shenanigans. Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves both serve a similar purpose, keeping our commander alive and safe. Dictate of the Twin Gods, Fiery Emancipation, Gratuitous Violence, Warstorm Surge, Berserker's Onslaught, Dragon Tempest, and Crucible of Fire. What's scarier than a flight of dragons? How about a flight of double-striking dragons who deal double damage? What could make it better? How about an aggravated assault? Dragon Master Outcast is a wonderful little one-drop that works great in our deck, assuming he isn't sniped. Moonveil Dragon can pump our team for even cheaper than Lathliss can. Nesting Dragon makes more dragons for us. Inferno of the Starmounts isn't something our deck is built around, but he is a 6-mana 6/6 hasty flyer, so that's always nice to have. Utvara Hellkite, on the other hand, is an absolute house in this deck, and my wife is always happy to see him. Unless he's in her opening hand, that is. Dracuseth Maw of Flames is another wonderful beatstick. Hellkite Charger can also help us end games quickly. Scourge of Valkus, along with Terror of the Peaks, deal a ton of damage to our opponents. Thundermaw Hellkite is in the deck specifically because of my Locust God deck. Cute Stuff was tired of me having too many blockers, and since I'm a nice husband, I bought her a Thundermaw Hellkite. Warmonger Hellkite and Tyrant's familiar both help to close out games quickly. Finally, we're trying out Invasion of Tarkir. I really like this card and I hope it works as well as I think it will. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 56 mana sources split between 36 lands and 20 pieces of ramp. I know that sounds like a lot, but 5 of those pieces of ramp serve double duty as card advantage, and 3 of them are dragons, so it's fine. 14 pieces of card advantage, 10 pieces of interaction, 1 board wipe, no graveyard hate, several sudden I win cards. Basically, anything that increases the damage Cute Stuff's dragons deal is a sudden I win card. I've seen her slam a Dictate of the Twin Gods and follow it up with a Gratuitous Violence and kill the entire table. Now, I know she doesn't have any graveyard hate in the deck, and that is a weakness, which is why I'm sure to play my Kess deck against her whenever she breaks out Lathliss. Do you have a dragon deck? Who's your commander? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Phoenix of Ice, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Brian, Josh, Sean, OT, Richard, Pop Zombie, Mark, and Michael. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos often, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.